This is how to write awesome songs and make waves with your music. All it takes to get insane traction with your music is probably 2 or 3 awesome songs. That is exactly how a lot of songwriters achieved overnight success by having just a single song go viral. So how does an awesome song come to life? Did they succeed because they have access to something that you don't? Some enchanted lyric genius pen, a self-playing melody-savvy piano, or endless inborn musical talent that they sold their soul to the devil for? The greatest songwriters in history have become the greatest thanks to the tireless pursuit of mastery in their craft. We all get inspiration from time to time, but magic really happens when inspiration hits a great songwriter, which is why you want to become one. While inspiration cannot be taught, becoming proficient is a matter of determination and sheer will. There are specific frameworks of demonstrated commercial success that songwriters use all the time to maximize the impact of their songs. Knowing these frameworks and having a clear, established path will help you become proficient sooner. While you are still going to have to come up with your own great ideas, I can teach you the fundamentals of the craft. Some people start with the lyrics, some start with the melody. Just pick whatever comes natural to you right now. Some amazing and unexpected things can happen if you switch it up. Also, collaborating with other songwriters that bring a different skill set to the table can help a ton. You don't need to go to music school. You don't need to invest a lot of money in musical instruments or recording equipment. All you need is this video, pen and paper, and the willingness to put in the work. A musical instrument for accompaniment such as a piano or a guitar would be nice to have, but it is by no means mandatory. You can find a ton of backing tracks on the internet and you can use those to practice. This is the core of anything that's good. If you already have a ton of great ideas, you may want to skip to the next section, but even the most outgoing and energetic among us can run out of juice. When that happens, you can use my secret weapon. Just flick the switch from expression to impression. What I mean is, instead of feeling like you need to put something out into the world, just let the world incite you. Listen to and observe what is around you. There are countless sources for ideas, maybe even some that you may not have thought of. Your dreams and personal life experience, your friends or relatives' dreams, lives and stories. Overhearing people talk on your everyday commute. Songs, books, movies, video games, social media, commercials, TV shows, billboards, paintings, sculptures, comic strips, the list goes on. Take note of your ideas, jot them down. Take pictures, shoot video, record audio, whatever serves you best. If it caught your attention in some way, it may well be material for your next awesome song. Maybe you will not write a song for each idea that you take a note of, at least not immediately, but sometimes you can go back to those notes and find the missing piece of the puzzle that helps you complete another song. Your goal is to present your core idea or concept from a unique, authentic, individual perspective. Don't try to be someone else. Authenticity will keep you consistent and show the real you. Your listeners want to discover you, not a poor imitation of someone else. The most used theme is without a trace of doubt, love. You might be inclined to think that it is overused and worn out, but it is still one of the most successful themes out there. That is because, besides being the universal feeling, it can be approached in so many ways. It can be about falling in love, heartbreak, breakup, loss of a loved one, jealousy, desire, cheating, etc. In any case, you should not be afraid to experiment while staying true to yourself. If you are just starting out, I would recommend that you make an effort to stick with the basic, tried and true pop hit structure that has been used to great effect in more songs than I can count. The length of the whole song should be about 3 to 3.5 minutes, as is the case with most commercial pop hits. As for the time signature, 4 beats in a bar is where you want to start, also known as common time. Typical tempo ranges are 90 to 120 BPM, but you should really listen to determine if the tempo you chose serves the song. Record the chorus with your phone, and if it works out, you've found it. Intros and pre-choruses are not essential and can be left out if your song doesn't call for one. You will have to figure out what works best depending on the context. I personally love a good intro, one that features or hints at the main lick or melody of the song. It also helps create that feeling of connection with your song immediately as soon as it starts. Your first verse should have the same melody every time, while featuring roughly the same amount of syllables with every line. It should have a sense of lyrical and melodic direction that lead to your chorus. There can be some variation, but this is one of the parts where a good amount of repetition will help make your verses more memorable. You can introduce some melodic variation if done sparingly, or more often in the second verse. The pre-chorus, again not mandatory, should grow dynamically and elevate the overall emotion of the song. This can be achieved by changing or increasing the melodic rhythm, the harmonic rhythm, or introducing new harmonic material. This is the catchy, lyrically and melodically peaking part of the song. You can change the lyrics sometimes. It has to be memorable. Your melody should be the same almost every time, and this is also where your title and hook reside. The hook, or title, is usually found at the start or at the end of your chorus. In some cases, the title itself is just repeated throughout the chorus. The turnaround, when used, usually features the same harmonic and melodic information presented in the intro. It serves the purpose of connecting the listener back to the second verse. The second verse should not repeat the same lyrical content of the first. It should instead expand, move forward, and introduce new perspectives that bring the song forward to the second iteration of the chorus. After the second chorus, you can show off your instrumental ability with a solo if you're a skilled instrumentalist. The solo can and should introduce new melodic material, typically over the same progression of the chorus or some new harmonic material. Alternatively, you can move directly onto the bridge. You don't necessarily need one, unless the song calls for a different tone. In it, you can completely shift your lyrical, melodic, or harmonic material, and usually it's a good time to reduce the overall dynamics and excitement of the song so as to give the listener the opportunity to look forward to the next chorus. If you don't have such an urge to switch up your material, you can leave this section at the solo or pre-chorus or move directly onto the final chorus of the song. The outro is optional. Some like to fade the chorus out, some like a nice big closing chord, others still like to reiterate or reverse some of the ideas of the intro. As you improve and become more proficient, you can experiment with introducing variations in your structure as well. Think about the songs that you love. Their lyrics have the power to connect to the deepest emotional layers in the listeners. Hit songs usually revolve around a single idea or emotion. All the lyrics can be referred back to it. Think of Let It Be by the Beatles, Heroes by David Bowie, Royals by Lorde, Johnny B. Good by Chuck Berry. The difficult, most important part of the craft is writing a whole, cohesive song that revolves around that one single idea. You can reference all the concepts, ideas, and themes we talked about in one of the previous sections of this tutorial, or you can start from scratch with a new idea or inspiration. But you should try to focus on how to structure it in an intro, verse, and chorus sections as shown previously. Drop a bomb with your first line. Your opener should be used to capture the listener's attention and create intrigue on the contents of the song. The title must be memorable, and whether you want it to be part of the lyrics or not, the whole song should revolve around it. It should convey the general idea and theme of the song. If you are not using the title itself, then you should use some other type of lyrical hook. Everything should connect to it and build up to it. Consistency in the number of syllables in each section will make for an easier match to your musical phrases or motifs, which we'll talk about in greater depth in the melody section of this video. For now, suffice it to say that once a certain syllabic rhythm is established, the ear becomes accustomed to it and instinctively seeks to find a pattern in it. To rhyme or not to rhyme, the right amount of rhymes can really make a difference in the listener. Perfect rhymes occur between words where the stressed vowel sound is identical, as well as the following sounds. Imperfect rhymes are formed by words that have similar but not identical sounds. Both can be used to make your lyrics more memorable. Inner rhymes can shine a different light on a repetitious line. Alliteration, or the occurrence of the same letter or sound at the beginning of adjacent or closely connected words, is also another powerful technique. Think of the line, "He fought a fiery fight, fending off his foes." Let's take a look at some typical rhyme examples. Finding the right balance between repetition and storytelling is a matter of showing your identity and lyrical prowess. Both can be successful as long as you're authentic. You can approach your narration in the first person, or we. You could be referring to you, or you could be narrating about a third person. This third person doesn't necessarily have to be somebody else, it could still be you. As we discussed in the structure section, remember that the second verse should not be a repetition of the same material in the first verse. New angles can be used to add layers to the story. I want you to take a moment to compare everything that we've discussed so far with the 9 rules laid out over a century ago by one of the greatest songwriters that ever lived, Irving Berlin. I promise that you don't need so many things beside this video to write awesome songs, and I intend to keep my promise. A pinch of music theory, especially regarding triads and the Roman numeral system, is going to be very useful in navigating chord progressions. A chord progression is the series of chords that the various sections of your song will be based on, and all the melody in your song will revolve around. Let's take a look at some examples of how we can use them.
Recognize this? Yeah, that's Don't Stop Believing by Journey and the cast of Glee.
Let's introduce some variation now. How about some permutations? You can use fewer chords. I think you get the idea. Another way to add some color to your chord progressions is to try switching out minor chords with major chords and vice versa. Now that you have a framework, you should still experiment, explore, and try switching chords around. The end result is what matters, and how you get there is in your hands. The Beatles are a great reference for unusual chord progressions used effectively in pop music. The world is always thirsty for new, catchy melody. An effective melody is one that gets stuck in your head and you just can't get it out of it. In the words of Irving Berlin, it's the lyrics that makes a song a hit, although the tune, of course, is what makes it last. Let's take a look at some different types of melodies. Most effective pop melodies typically feature a syllabic movement, meaning that there is one note per syllable. They also make good use of repetition to facilitate the listener enjoying them, as well as satisfying their innate desire for pattern recognition. The melody should often adapt to the rhyming structure, as we saw in the lyrics section. You should aim to have the melody go along with the emotion. Imagine that instead of singing, you are actually speaking with someone about something that you care about deeply. Notice how you would naturally emphasize certain parts with your tone of voice, and how you would take breaks in others, pausing for effect. Translate this into your melody. If you stay within the range of the common, everyday singer, more people will be able to sing along to your song, making it more effective. Consider what the lowest and highest notes in your song are, and form your melody so that it builds up to the highest note for the climax of the song. You should typically try to keep the notes in the verses and pre-choruses lower than in the choruses. As the great Victor Wooten says, grab them by the feeling. Many beginner songwriters are under the impression that the more elements, or the more complex the elements they use in the song, the more compelling they're going to make it. However, making a song good is not about the number of elements that you use. It's rather about using the right ones to make the song simple and enjoyable to the listener. The same point can be reiterated with regard to repetition versus variation, where the right balance between the two can make or break a song. We've covered a lot of ground, and there's always so much more to unpack. But by applying this information to your songwriting and composition, you are now ready to go out there, get writing, composing, and give birth to the next hit. As you become familiar with this framework, you can explore where and how to bend or break these rules, and truly become a master of this craft. If you enjoyed this video or learned something from it, hit those like and subscribe buttons. If you have any thoughts or comments about what we talked about, please let me know in the comments section below or contact me via my website. I would love to hear from you. Also, since I am a music producer, if you're looking to get your original song produced, head over to my website and let me know what you have on your mind. I will help you bring your song to its maximum potential